Life sometimes feels like a narrow hallway where the walls are slowly closing in. We walk the same path every day, seeing the same sights and hearing the same sounds. For many adults, the world feels smaller than it should be, not because of where they live, but because of how they communicate. When we lack the right words, our experiences stay thin and pale, like a faded photograph. In social gatherings, the feeling of being an outsider is often the strongest. You stand in a room full of people, listening to the rhythm of their laughter and the flow of their stories. You want to contribute, to share a joke, or to explain a complex thought, but the words remain trapped behind your teeth. It is a quiet kind of loneliness that many professionals feel every single day. This invisible wall is built from the things we cannot say. It limits our career, our friendships, and our understanding of the world around us. We often blame our memory or our busy schedules, but the truth is deeper. Without a way to expand our inner landscape, we stay stuck in a loop of basic phrases and repetitive thoughts, never reaching the depth we truly desire. Daily routines begin to feel like a grey script written by someone else. You wake up, go to work, and use the same 50 words to get through the day. There is a hunger for something more, a desire to understand the nuances of life that seem to hide just out of reach. You see others moving with confidence, their language sharp and clear, while you feel like you are walking through a thick fog. A realization slowly grows in the back of your mind. You realize that your perspective is tied to the strength of your communication. If you cannot describe a sunset in detail, do you truly see all its colors? If you cannot explain your frustration, does it just turn into a heavy weight in your chest? The limit of your language really is the limit of your world, and it is time to break through. Finding a way out of this limitation requires a new approach and a steady commitment to growth. If you are looking for a path to transform your perspective and find your voice, follow this journey with us for more insights. The change you seek often starts in the quietest of places, away from the noise of the busy world, waiting for you to take the very first step toward a new horizon. One evening, while looking through an old cupboard, you find a book that has been forgotten for years. Its cover is faded and the edges are a bit worn, but it feels significant in your hands. It was a gift or perhaps a purchase from a long time ago when you had more hope about your progress. Now, it sits there like a silent challenge, waiting for you to notice it again. The weight of a physical book is different from the weight of a phone or a laptop. It feels grounded and real, carrying the thoughts of another person within its pages. As you hold it, you feel a spark of curiosity that you haven't felt in a long time. There is a sense of history in the paper, a promise that within these pages lies a world much larger than your current one. A thin layer of dust covers the top of the pages, showing how long it has been since someone looked inside. You wipe it away, feeling the rough texture of the paper against your thumb. It is a simple object, yet it contains thousands of ideas and emotions. For a moment, you wonder why you stopped looking for stories and why you let the digital world take over your quiet moments. Fear often arrives before we even open the cover. You worry that the sentences will be too long or the words will be too strange. What if you fail to understand the very first page? This hesitation is natural for any adult who wants to grow. We are afraid of looking foolish, even when we are alone in our own living room. But the book does not judge. It only waits. Looking at the black marks on the white paper can feel like looking at a secret code. You know these letters, but when they join together in long strings, they seem to lose their meaning. It is intimidating to see so much text without any pictures or videos to explain it. You feel small in front of the task, like a child looking at a map of a city they have never visited. Deep down, there is a drive that is stronger than the fear. You are no longer satisfied with just surviving or getting by with the basics. You want to thrive, to lead, and to connect with others on a deeper level. This book represents a door. Even if you don't know what is on the other side, you know that staying where you are is no longer an option you can accept. You decide to clear a small space on your desk. You move the laptop aside and turn off the television. The room becomes suddenly quiet, and the silence feels like an empty canvas. It is a deliberate act of choosing yourself over the distractions of the modern world. In this quiet moment, you are preparing to start a journey that will rewire the way you see everything around you. The smell of old paper fills the air as you finally open the book. It is a scent of vanilla and wood, a comforting smell that reminds you of libraries and old offices. It grounds you in the present moment. You take a deep breath, calming the nervous energy in your chest. The physical sensation of the paper under your fingers makes the decision feel permanent and exciting all at once. Preparing for the first page is like standing at the edge of a pool. You know the water might be cold, but you also know you need to jump. You look at the first sentence, adjust your chair, and prepare your mind for the effort. The journey is about to begin, and although you feel uncertain, you are ready to face the challenge of the unknown words ahead. Starting a new habit is never as easy as the movies make it look. The first sentence is a struggle. You find yourself reading the words, but they don't enter your mind. It feels like your brain is a rusty engine trying to start on a cold winter morning. You have to push through the initial resistance, forcing your eyes to move from left to right, line after line, with pure effort. You finish a paragraph and realize you have no idea what it said. Your mind was wandering to your grocery list or a meeting you had earlier. So, you go back to the top. You read the same line 3 times, trying to lock the meaning into your brain. This repetition is not a sign of failure. It is the sound of your concentration building its strength for the first time in years. Distractions are everywhere, especially the phone sitting just inches away. Every time it lights up, your focus shatters like glass. The urge to check a notification is a powerful habit that fights against your reading time. You have to learn to ignore the digital world to enter the written one. It takes discipline to stay on the page when the whole world is calling for your attention elsewhere. The silence of the room begins to feel different after 20 minutes. Initially, it was uncomfortable, but now it feels like a space for growth. You start to hear the sound of your own breathing and the soft rustle of the page as you turn it. In this silence, your brain starts to find its rhythm. The outside world fades away, and the characters in the book start to take a faint shape. Finding the right book is like finding a bridge that fits your stride. If the book is too hard, you will give up. If it is too easy, you will be bored. You look for something that is written for adults but uses clear, direct language. When you find that perfect balance, the struggle begins to turn into a dance. The words start to work with you rather than against you. There is a unique physical sensation in turning a page. It is a marker of progress, a small achievement you can feel and see. Each page turned is a small victory over your own limitations. You look at the stack of pages on the right getting thinner and the stack on the left getting thicker. This visual progress provides a quiet sense of satisfaction that digital scrolling can never offer. Your inner voice begins to change its tone as you read. Initially, it was fast and panicked, but now it slows down to match the pace of the story. You start to hear the melody of the sentences. Some are short and punchy, while others are long and flowing. This rhythm is the heartbeat of the language, and as you listen to it, your own thinking starts to become more organized. Completing a full paragraph without stopping feels like a major breakthrough. For the first time, you didn't just see the words, you saw the image they were trying to describe. A character walked across a room or a storm began to break. This connection between a symbol on paper and a picture in your mind is the moment the magic of reading truly begins to take hold of you. Small victories in the evening build your confidence for the next day. You put the book down after only 3 pages, but those 3 pages belong to you now. You didn't give up when it got difficult. You faced the confusion and stayed with it. This persistence is the foundation of every great skill. As you go to sleep, your brain continues to process the new patterns it encountered. Focus is a muscle that needs a warm-up period. Scientists say it takes about 10 to 15 minutes for the brain to enter a state of deep concentration. During these first few minutes, you will feel restless and bored. But if you wait, the brain fog clears. You enter a zone where time seems to move differently, and the effort of reading becomes a natural, flowing process of discovery. Our eyes often jump around the page because we are used to scanning headlines on the internet. We look for key words instead of reading every word. Breaking this habit is a challenge. You have to train your eyes to move steadily, respecting each word the author chose. This slow movement forces your brain to engage more deeply, creating a stronger memory of what you have just experienced on the page. The first time a new word sticks in your memory without a dictionary is a wonderful feeling. You saw it in a sentence, guessed the meaning from the situation, and it just clicked. It is like meeting a stranger and suddenly feeling like you have known them forever. This word is now a part of you, a new tool in your belt that you can use to build your own thoughts. Slowly, you stop needing a dictionary for every single line. You realize that you can understand the journey even if you don't know every pebble on the path. This shift is crucial. It means you are moving from decoding letters to understanding concepts. You trust yourself more, and the flow of the story becomes more important than the definition of a single rare adjective you might never use. Context clues start working like magic in your mind. You understand that a character is sad, not because the book said he was sad, but because of how he sat in his chair or looked out the window. Your brain is learning to read between the lines, picking up social and emotional signals that were once invisible to you. This is the beginning of a much deeper level of intelligence. Finishing the first chapter brings a surge of genuine pride. It is a concrete milestone. You have traveled through a small portion of someone else's mind and come out the other side. You realize that you are capable of more than you've thought. The book on your nightstand is no longer a source of stress. It has become a source of potential and a quiet promise of future success. Your eyes might be tired after a long session, but your heart feels curious. You find yourself thinking about the story while you are brushing your teeth or making dinner. The characters are starting to feel like people you know. This mental presence of the book in your daily life means the transformation is working. You are no longer just a person who reads. You are becoming a reader. Creating a routine in the morning can change the entire direction of your day. Instead of checking emails the moment you wake up, you spend 15 minutes with your book. This quiet start sets a tone of calm and focus. You are feeding your mind before the world demands your energy. It is a small act of self-respect that builds a strong foundation for your intellectual growth. There is a perfect harmony in coffee and paper. The warmth of the mug and the focus on the text create a ritual. This ritual signals to your brain that it is time to learn and grow. Over time, the smell of coffee alone will start to sharpen your focus. You are creating a sanctuary for yourself, a place where the noise of modern life cannot reach you easily. The habit is now taking root in your life. You no longer have to force yourself to sit down. You actually look forward to it. It has become a highlight of your day, a time for exploration and peace. You notice that your attention span is getting longer in other areas of your life too. You can listen to longer stories and stay focused in meetings without feeling exhausted. As you move deeper into the book, you notice a shift in how you see the world outside. The grey fog is starting to lift. You are beginning to notice details in your daily life that you ignored before. The world is starting to look a bit more colourful, and the thoughts in your head are becoming more complex. This is where the real change begins to show its power. Reading is an exercise in empathy that no other medium can match. When you read, you are invited into the private thoughts of another person. You feel their fears, their hopes, and their secret shames. This connection forces you to realize that everyone around you has a story just as complex as your own. Your heart begins to open as your mind expands with every new perspective. Through the pages of a book, you can live 1,000 different lives. You can be a doctor in a busy city, a farmer in a distant land, or a traveler in another century. This variety of experience enriches your own soul. You are no longer limited by your own biography. You carry the experiences of many people within you, making you a more thoughtful and rounded human being. Seeing the world through a stranger's eyes changes how you treat people in your own life. You start to wonder what the person across from you on the train is thinking. You become more patient with others because you understand that everyone is fighting a hidden battle. This is the quiet power of literature. It makes us kinder by showing us that we are not the center of the universe. Understanding a different culture becomes much easier when you read their stories. You learn about their values, their food, and their history through the small details of a narrative. Instead of seeing the others as something strange or scary, you see the shared humanity. Books break down borders that politics and maps try to keep in place, making the world feel like one large, connected family. Emotional connections across borders are formed when you realize a character in a different country feels the same grief or joy as you. It is a powerful moment of recognition. It proves that despite our different languages and customs, our hearts speak the same tongue. This realization reduces the feeling of isolation and makes you feel like a citizen of the world, rather than just one place. Problem-solving becomes an unexpected benefit of reading. By watching heroes navigate difficult situations, you learn new ways to handle your own challenges. You see how they handle betrayal, failure, or difficult choices. These stories provide a library of mental models that you can use when life gets complicated. You start to ask yourself, how would that resilient character handle this? And you find new strength. The brain is constantly building new neural paths as you process complex stories. It is like an athlete training for a marathon. Every time you follow a difficult plot or understand a deep metaphor, your brain gets stronger. This cognitive magic keeps your mind sharp and young. You are literally rewiring your physical brain to be more efficient, more creative, and more capable of handling the complexities of modern life. Colors seem brighter when concepts are clear in your mind. It is a strange phenomenon, but as your vocabulary grows, your perception of the physical world improves. When you have a word for the specific shade of a leaf or the exact feeling of the wind, you notice them more. You are no longer living in a low-resolution world. You are seeing life in high definition, with all its beautiful details. Thinking in stories, rather than just facts, helps you communicate more effectively. People don't remember data, they remember narratives. As you read more, you naturally learn how to structure your own thoughts as stories. This makes you more persuasive and interesting to talk to. You start to see the narrative arc in your own projects and relationships, giving your life a sense of direction and meaning. There is a significant transition from reading to living in a book. You are no longer looking at words on a page, you are walking through the rooms of the story. You can feel the cold air or hear the bustling city streets. This immersion is a sign that your brain has fully adapted to the new language of the author. You are no longer a spectator, you are a participant in the narrative. Identifying with a struggle in a novel can be a healing experience. When you see a character face a fear that you also have, it gives you a safe space to process your own emotions. You realize that your struggles are part of the human experience. This connection provides a form of comfort that is hard to find elsewhere, showing you that you are understood and that you are definitely not alone. Feeling less alone in the world is perhaps the greatest gift of reading. In your darkest moments, you can find a book where someone has felt exactly what you feel. It is like a hand reaching out from the page to hold yours. This companionship is silent but incredibly strong. It gives you the courage to keep going, knowing that others have walked this difficult path before you and survived. Information is everywhere, but wisdom is rare. Reading helps you distinguish between the two. Information is just a collection of facts, while wisdom is the understanding of how those facts affect human lives. By reading deeply, you move beyond the surface-level noise of the news and social media. You begin to look for the deeper truths that stay relevant for decades, not just for a few minutes. Literature explains the human condition in ways that a textbook never can. It explores the messy, complicated parts of life that don't have easy answers. By engaging with these stories, you become more comfortable with ambiguity. You realize that life isn't always black and white, and this understanding makes you a more balanced and fair-minded person in your professional and personal interactions with others. Finding the right words for your own feelings is a major step in personal growth. Sometimes, an author describes an emotion so perfectly that you finally understand something about yourself that was hidden. You say to yourself, "Yes, that is exactly how I feel." This clarity allows you to express your needs and boundaries to others with much more confidence and precision than you ever could before. The silence of reading is actually a very loud conversation. It is a dialogue between your mind and the author's mind. You are constantly asking questions, agreeing or arguing with the ideas on the page. This active engagement keeps your critical thinking skills sharp. You aren't just a passive consumer, you are an active thinker, building your own philosophy one chapter at a time. Developing a deeper patience is a natural byproduct of the reading habit. Books don't give you instant gratification like a 10-second video. You have to wait for the plot to develop and for the characters to grow. This training in slow thinking is incredibly valuable in a fast-paced world. It helps you stay calm during long projects and gives you the stamina to see things through to the end. Seeing logic in complex situations becomes easier when you are used to following complex plots. You start to see the cause and effect in real-life events more clearly. You can anticipate problems before they happen and see the hidden connections between different parts of your work. Reading turns your mind into a high-performance machine that is capable of navigating the most complicated social and professional landscapes. Books are not just about words, they are about universal truths that connect us all. Whether a story is set in a palace or a prison, the themes of love, loss, and ambition remain the same. Recognizing these patterns makes you more insightful. You begin to see the deeper meaning in everyday events, transforming a simple life into a rich and meaningful journey full of discovery and wonder. The shift into a higher level of thinking is a quiet revolution. You don't wake up one day and feel different. Instead, you realize that your conversations have become more meaningful and your thoughts more structured. You are no longer just reacting to the world, you are interpreting it. You have moved from the fog of limitation into the clear light of an expanding and hungry mind. The concept of inputs is simple. The more high-quality language you take in, the more your brain naturally builds its own skills. You don't need to memorize long lists of rules if you see those rules used correctly thousands of times. Reading provides the brain with the patterns it needs to understand how language truly works. It is the most natural and efficient way to achieve a high level of mastery. Patterns begin forming in your mind without any conscious effort. You start to notice that certain words always appear together, or that sentences have a specific flow. Your brain is an expert at finding these patterns, even when you aren't trying. This implicit learning is how children learn, and it is just as powerful for adults. You are absorbing the structure of the language through the back door of your mind. Grammar starts to become a feeling rather than a set of strict rules. You know a sentence is correct because it sounds right, not because you are thinking about a specific verb tense. This is the mark of a true master. When you stop analyzing the mechanics and start feeling the rhythm, you are finally free. You can use the language naturally without the constant mental friction of checking for mistakes. Hearing the author's voice in your head while you read is a sign of deep connection. Each writer has a unique style, a specific way of choosing and arranging words. By spending hours with an author, you begin to hear their personality. This inner soundtrack helps you understand the nuance and tone of the writing, making the experience feel like a real conversation with a very intelligent friend. Speaking becomes significantly easier because your internal word bank is full. When you want to express an idea, the right words are already there, waiting for you. You don't have to search for them as hard as you used to. Because you have seen these words used in stories, you know exactly how to use them yourself. Your speech becomes smoother, more confident, and much more precise. Finding your own voice often starts by imitating the authors you admire. You might find yourself using a specific phrase or a certain way of explaining things that you saw in a book. This is how we all learn to express ourselves. Eventually, you mix these influences with your own personality to create a voice that is uniquely yours. Reading gives you the tools to build your own identity. The dictionary on your desk is now gathering dust, and that is a sign of great progress. You still find new words, but now you enjoy the mystery instead of being frustrated by it. You have developed the skill of inferring meaning, which is a key part of fluency. You can keep reading and stay in the flow, trusting that the context will eventually reveal the meaning to you. Understanding jokes, sarcasm, and cultural nuances is a major milestone in your journey. These are the hardest parts of a language to learn because they rely on shared knowledge and subtle tones. Reading exposes you to these nuances in a controlled way. When you finally laugh at a witty comment in a book, you know you have truly made it. You are no longer just a visitor. You are a resident. The flow states in reading is a beautiful experience. It is when you completely forget that you are reading in another language. You are so caught up in the story that the words become invisible and only the experience remains. This state is where the most powerful learning happens. In these moments, your brain is working at its peak, and the language is becoming part of your very soul. Naturally, your writing begins to improve as you read more. You start to use better transitions and more interesting vocabulary without even thinking about it. Your emails and reports become clearer and more professional. You have been quietly studying the work of expert writers for months, and their good habits are starting to rub off on you. Your professional reputation grows as your communication becomes more refined. Confidence in a boardroom or a social setting comes from knowing you have the tools to handle any conversation. You are no longer afraid of being asked a difficult question. You have a broad base of knowledge and a strong vocabulary to fall back on. This inner security changes your body language and your tone of voice. People start to listen to you differently because you speak with the authority of a reader. Complex ideas can now be expressed simply and elegantly. This is the true sign of intelligence. Instead of using big words to sound smart, you use the right words to be clear. Reading has taught you how to structure an argument and how to lead a listener through a logical path. You can explain difficult concepts to others in a way that makes them feel smart too, which is a rare and valuable gift. The beauty of a well-placed adjective can change the entire mood of a sentence. You start to appreciate the artistry of language. You notice how a single word can make a description come alive or make a point more powerful. This appreciation for the small things makes your own communication much more effective. You are no longer just delivering information. You are creating an impact with your words. Thinking directly in the new language is the final bridge to cross. You realize one day that you didn't translate a thought from your native tongue. The thought just appeared. This is a profound shift in your identity. It means your brain has created a whole new workspace for this language. You are now living a double life, with two different ways to process and interact with the world around you. The barrier that once felt like a mountain has finally been broken. You look back at the person who was afraid to open a book, and you barely recognize them. You have gained more than just vocabulary. You have gained a new way of being. The silence of the journey was not empty. It was full of the quiet work of transformation. You are now a master of your own mind and your own voice. Looking back at your former self is like looking at a person standing in a thick fog. That person was limited by their own uncertainty and a lack of tools. They felt stuck in a small world. Now, you can see how far you have traveled. The journey was not always easy, but every difficult page was a step toward the clarity and confidence you feel today. You have truly transformed. A person who reads is never the same person they were before they started. Each book leaves a mark on your character. You carry the lessons, the stories, and the perspectives with you everywhere you go. Your mind is like a garden that you have carefully tended, and now it is full of life and color. This growth is permanent. It is a part of who you are now and forever. Reading becomes a lifelong companion that will never leave you. No matter where you are or what challenges you face, a book can provide comfort, knowledge, or an escape. It is a portable sanctuary that you can take anywhere. As you get older, this habit will continue to keep your mind sharp and your heart open. You have discovered a source of endless wealth that no one can ever take from you. A house full of books is a house full of friends. Each spine on the shelf represents a voice that has taught you something important. When you look at your collection, you don't just see paper, you see your own growth and your own history. Your home becomes a library of your life's journey, a place where you are surrounded by the best thoughts of the human race. It is a truly beautiful environment. Passing this habit to others is one of the most rewarding things you can do. Whether it is a friend, a colleague, or a child, showing them the power of reading is a great gift. You become a living example of what is possible when you commit to growth. By sharing your love for stories, you help expand the worlds of those around you, creating a ripple effect of intelligence and empathy in your community. The journey never truly ends, because there is always another book and another perspective to explore. The world is too big to ever know everything, and that is the most exciting part. You will always be a student, always curious, and always growing. This constant discovery keeps life fresh and interesting. Every morning brings a new opportunity to learn something that will change the way you see the world. If you are feeling stuck today, remember that the solution is right there on the shelf. You don't need a complicated plan, you just need a book and a few minutes of silence. Don't worry about how fast you go or how much you understand at first. Just start. The transformation happens one page at a time, slowly and quietly, until one day you realize your whole world has been rewired for the better. Your story is waiting to be written, but first, it must be read. Pick up a book today, not because you have to, but because you deserve a larger world. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single paragraph. Turn the page, breathe in the scent of the paper, and let the adventure begin. Your future self will thank you for the quiet moments you spend in the company of a book today.